Hello YouTubers, today what I'm going to be showing you is my homemade air or steam driven lamp. It's pretty cool. I have just finished it. I'm giving it a good long run to make sure it's going to work, and eventually I'm going to hang it up on my ceiling in the corner of my room with a hose running down the side of the wall, a clear, vinyl tubing, like aquarium airline tubing basically, and make it just for a cool little light, just to do it. But I'll go ahead and show it to you. Now this device is actually rather quiet. It may or may not appear to in the video. I'm not sure. I'm going to leave the lights off for now and show you. There it is. This is being run on nothing but air pressure. Now I'll turn on the lights. So, here it is. I'm going to poke 2 holes in it right there and there. Make a little, loop, and then hang it up in the corner of my room right above the server rack. So basically we have some air hose right here. I'm using the compressor that I used to drive my suction, my tool suction device to run this. I have it on the blower port, basically on the compressor. But here it is. It's got a very bright LED that's 12 volts, or no, not 12 volts, 6 volt, or something like that. And then in here is the generator and the LED. Now this big white disc you see spinning here is actually a very large gear with very fine teeth, which work very efficiently for a turbine. I have a angled nozzle that's blowing air at very high pressure. And actually not that high, but pretty high pressure at this disc. And then I just got a CD-ROM drive motor as the generator. Those seem to work really good as generators. And I have it on the original CD-ROM drive motor mounts with a little bit of plastic cut off of it. This is the exhaust vent right here. This is the screw that holds the turbine in place. Now if you notice, I'm going to switch off the compressor just for a second just to slow it down. As you see, it slows down. Now the hose connections on these things are a little bit leaky, so I'm going to go ahead and squeeze them and show you how bright this thing will actually get. Oops, do it this way. That's as bright as it gets. I'm going to run it off this compressor. I'm just going to have an airline hose running from the output of the compressor straight up to the ceiling over there, and then whenever I switch it off to use it for the suction, this light will come on. Just to kind of, do whatever. I don't know. Kind of cool. Now, like I said, this thing can either run on steam or anything. Now, this thing is running at only like 1 psi. It is a very low pressure and very efficient lamp. But it'll look kind of cool up there in the corner when it's dark. So, what I got all the parts out of, as you see, I have a huge mess of parts right here. I got a few parts out of a turbo brush, which I found in the garbage on a vacuum. Just some various parts from that, not many. As you can see, I took a CD-ROM drive apart. It had a very strange way of driving the disc. But here's the CD-ROM drive. It's actually out of a DVD player, which I'll be soon making a video on how to make this into a power supply, useful for, working on stuff. But the kind of motor that is in there that I'm using as a generator is one of these. Not one of those, sorry. One of these. One of those style of motors. The very efficient motor that they use in these things. They're very precision. And the particular motor I used for it was to open up the tray and close it. And then the gear I got off of one of these gear wheels. As you can see, one of them's missing, and it works great as a turbine. I was thinking about using this, but I decided not to. It'd be much louder that way. Here's one of the gears that I was going to use for it too, but this is the kind of gear it is. Just the one that's in there is a little bit bigger to get a little bit more torque. I'll be using this really, really tiny copper tubing, which I saved from this refrigerator project, to make the little, loop to hang it up on the ceiling. So, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll just go ahead and point the camera at the thing for a little while. It's pretty robust too. I have actually screwed in the bottom jar right there, the lid, so I could take off the jar. But let's do a startup video of it. Let's see. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this thing when I start it up. There's our air pressure. Alright, here we go, startup time. And all I have to do is squeeze the hose so it gives it a little extra boost of pressure. And there it is running. Let's do it again. I'm going to put the camera closer just so you can hear it better. I'm not one for throwing stuff out, so when I got this broken DVD player, I'm like, what can I do with this? Alright, so I'm going to disconnect the hose. The reason why I'm not just turning off the compressor is because you can't turn it on and then off real quick like that, otherwise it won't start up for like 30 to 1 minute, 30 seconds to 1 minute. Alright, we got air pressure. I'm going to squeeze the hose. 1, 2, 3. And there it is running. One more look inside there. One of the reasons why I was so inspired to do this, well, not really inspired, but I thought it was a cool device, but Aussie50, he's a really cool dude. His name's Ed. He has a cool YouTube channel where he does a lot of, random bits and stuff of air conditioners, from everything from air conditioners to, just a lot of cool electronics and stuff. And he had some real, actual industrial steam-powered lamps, or air-driven lamps for, I'm assuming, a boat or something. And they were really cool. And then I'm like, maybe I should build one. I just got to thinking of that. This took me about an hour and a half to think about and actually design and build. But there it is, folks. I hope you liked this video. Kind of stretched it out a little bit long, but whatever. Alright, there you go.